Surrounded on this beautiful day with those beautiful bells, I added that, by this uniquely modern sculpture garden with Klaus Oldenburg, Alexander Calder, and Katrina Fitch, it is easy to forget that we are part of history as well. But in fact, this art center dates back almost 140 years to when it was just a single room connected to the home of businessman T.B. Walker. Back then, in 1877, Monet, Renoir, and Pissarro were the radical artists who had started their own association to display their works. The telephone had just been invented, the light bulb was 2 years away, and bustles were the fashion rage. The president, it was Rutherford B. Hayes, a Republican president who had won a controversial election despite losing the popular vote. I guess some things haven't changed, but one little simple, just for historical purposes footnote, he only served one term. So here we are, nearly, that was just a historical footnote. So here we are, nearly a century and a half later. And today the Walker stands as a world-renowned institution, and its pizzazz owes so much to the ground we stand on, the Minneapolis Sculpture Garden, one of the nation's largest and most respected urban sculpture parks. So today is about the celebration of our modern garden in the present, but it is also about history. As we learned so painfully in the last few weeks, it is about how, in the present, we remember and respect the past. For the purpose of art, after all, as Picasso once reminded us, is to wash the dust of daily life off our souls. And this past month, we did a little bit of that. My husband, John, who is here with me today, actually grew up in Mankato, just a few blocks where the 1862 mass hanging of the Dakota Indians took place. He wrote a book that tells the story about the execution and Lincoln's pardons, which spared many more. Not everyone, of course, knew about this heart-wrenching story, but now many more do. And in the present, 155 years later, a mistake was made. It wasn't intentional, but it was wrong. And it jarred us into remembering that history has a way of repeating itself if not respected and remembered. In this case, there were protests and meetings and apologies, and the scaffold sculpture came down. All that dust of daily life was washed away, and we were reminded, as another great artist once said, that art is not what you see, but what others make you see. A lesson from the Native American community and from T.B. Walker himself was passed on to a new generation. You see, back in 1877, when Walker first displayed his collection, he opened it to the public, literally welcoming them into his home. He was proof, as this garden is today, that in Minnesota, art is more than something to look at. Whether it is in Winona or Worthington or St. Paul, art is something to bring our communities together. It is part of our shared history. This garden is not the walkers or the park board members or the directors or even the artists who have labored to create what surrounds us. This garden and this art center are ours. They belong to the Native Americans who will forever come back and tell their children the story of the scaffold sculpture. They belong to the busload of Duluth seniors who come down to take photos of the Spoon Bridge and Cherry. They belong to the millennials who delightfully discovered the first International Cat Video Festival. And they belong to the 8-year-old girl walking over that magical footbridge for the first time and reading the words of John Ashbery forever etched in its steel. That was our daughter. This is our garden. This is our art. And thank you to all that have been part of creating these works. Thank you to Olga. Thank you to the Walker staff. Thank you to those who support the Walker's mission and are giving us this chance to leave our daily lives behind for 1 hour, for 1 day, and remember that art belongs to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Klobuchar, for those really powerful and inspiring words that mean a lot at this moment. It is so heartening to see so many people here, and we really thank you for joining us today. It's so heartening for all of us involved at the Walker to see you here today. And we come here with a great sense of hope and a great sense of optimism following last week's resolutions. Before I introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Tina Smith, I just want to quickly acknowledge the landscape architect, Tom Oslin of Oslin & Associates, who's here in the crowd, and Julie Snow, who just waved. Julie Snow from Snow Prylick Architects, who together have reimagined the garden in such powerful ways that are sensitive not only to the art, but to the experience of pedestrians here, to the environment with its really innovative stormwater projects and initiatives that surround this, and also take into consideration this important civic space of what it is in urban space here, and how art and nature come together to bring together the things that define this community around cultural resources and natural resources. I also want to acknowledge and I'm grateful to the nearly 60 artists whose works are here in the 12 acres of the garden and the 7 acres that surround the Walker Art Center in our new Wordle Upper Garden. These artists, both whether they're new to the garden or artists with works that have been here for 30 years, they and the representatives have worked closely with us to recite them, to present them here, and to bring them anew to you. We're also grateful to Target. Yes, and please, a big round of applause for the artists. I know Kinji Akagawa is here, Sierra Majani. Many artists in our community are here. Let's celebrate them. This is what it's about. We're also grateful to Target for its sponsorship of our opening celebrations and the programs this summer. Thank you, Target. Thank you. And we're, of course, grateful to the state of Minnesota for its support of this major reconstruction project. And our Lieutenant Governor, Tina Smith, has been a long supporter of the Minneapolis Sculpture Garden and Park System, and with her support, the governor's support, and with the support of many legislators, the Park Board received $8.5 million in state bonding monies to support this ambitious project. So many thanks to you, Lieutenant Governor, and all involved in bringing us to this moment. I'd now like to invite Tina Smith to speak. Thank you.
I guess I should say good afternoon, everyone. And I'm so pleased to be with you. I'm delighted to be with you today on this reopening of the newly reconstructed Minneapolis Sculpture Garden. You know, Governor Rudy Perpich was on hand for the unveiling of this crown jewel of Minnesota. And I have distinct memories of wheeling our 2 young sons through the sculpture garden when they were little, trying to decide whether it was okay to climb on the arch or not okay. Okay, Olga? So thank you, Walker, for providing remarkable experiences to my family and millions more. I have great respect for Olga and for this remarkable institution, which has been part of the fabric of Minnesota, the cultural life of Minnesota, for over 125 years. And it strikes me that the Sculpture Garden, like all great art collections, creates a place and a space for people to think on and learn about the human experience. And it also strikes me that learning can be challenging. Sometimes we don't know what we don't know. We learn that our assumptions are sometimes wrong, We learn that our own perspective is not the only perspective. This happens to all of us. And it happened, I think, it's fair to say, to the walker over the last few weeks. But the mark of strong people, of strong leaders, and strong organizations is they learn how to incorporate different perspectives into a deeper understanding of the whole human experience. This is also what great art does, like the works we see today. So, on this hot Minnesota summer day, I am grateful for the Walker and the Minneapolis Park Board for reimagining this iconic Minnesota Sculpture Garden, which is one of the great public spaces in the country and the world. I am grateful to the remarkable artists who have created works that are by turn brilliant, provocative, challenging, and joyful. I am grateful for the Dakota leaders whose ancestors once lived on the land where we today stand, who have helped us all to gain a deeper understanding of the life experiences of the Dakota people. And I am grateful for the partnership of the Walker Arts Center, Director Viso, and Park Board Superintendent Miller for bringing this to a resolution in an excellent way and for bringing us this remarkable, remarkable day. So thank you. Thank you for your work. Congratulations. And I would now like to invite everybody, Amy, Jane, and Olga, to join me in cutting the ribbon.
You want to move this stuff out of here? All right, here we go.